Welcome to the Trackside District's Thrive Business Skills for Success. Today we're going to talk about top trends in 2025. Now, most of us know 2024 was a year filled with doubt and uncertainty. It was also a very exhausting year for marketing professionals and for business owners trying to figure out what to do. Now, 2025 has started off with a little more optimism, and I will tell you the people that are embracing simplicity and authenticity will be those that succeed in 2025. Now, I'm Vincent Laboy, co-founder and marketing strategist for 402 Content Marketing. We are most known for our publication, Columbus Champions. If you missed a session or you want to go back and review the sessions and the slides, you can always go to Columbus Any Champions. That is our YouTube channel, and everything that you need is there. One of the things I think that's very important is that we have real, tangible examples. It's one thing to talk about ideas, but tangible examples helps you put it in your memory bank and also helps you figure out how to put it into your life and to work it out for real. So I always use the example of the cobbler's son has no shoes. Now, what I mean by that is cobblers used to make shoes a long time ago. If they were really good, they were so busy, they never had time to focus on their family and make shoes for them. And so the concept was if they're really good, they forget their family. Well, at 402 Content Marketing, we've had a vision statement. We've had a vision and a mission statement from the beginning. We've talked about it, and I've talked about it in some of our presentations, but we never put it in writing, and that's unacceptable. But because of these seminars, we went ahead and did an example for it. So here is our vision statement. We put it down on a slide. We put pictures that matter with our vision statement, and we want to foster joy and strengthen connections within our community by highlighting and sharing uplifting, positive stories. Now, that is the big vision. Remember, the vision statement is what you want people to say after you pass away. What did you do? That's what you did. Now, that doesn't say how we do it. That's where the mission statement comes into play. We've talked about these in the first seminar, but here's our mission statement. We are a hyper-local content marketing network designed to empower businesses through exceptional content creation in various formats utilized on various media platforms. Now, please don't write that down. You can go with the slides later. You don't need to know that. But what you do need to know is the mission statement is something that if you've been to some of these trainings and you haven't gone back and looked at your vision and mission statement, it's probably time. You have the knowledge to go back and look at it and retool those. If you're in a business and you don't have a vision and a mission statement, it's time to get going. 2025 is time for you to get going. So that's a real tangible example I wanted to share with you. If you've been to any of my seminars, you also know that I give key takeaways. And today we're going to have 3 key takeaways. The first one is we're going to talk about the difference between trends and fads. Second one, we're going to talk about 3 ways to identify trends and fads before your competition, because we all want to beat our competition. And then we'll talk about the top 7 marketing trends that are out there for 2025. If all goes well, we will answer questions along the way. If you have a specific question about one of the trends, we will talk about that. Feel free to ask. If not, or if you have something that's more in depth, see me afterwards. I'll stick around. So let's start with trends and fads. Now, just for the record, trends last longer because they provide a solution to the audience's needs. They provide a solution to the audience's needs. They also provide positive targeted insights for your business. So they're providing insights about your target market. If you ignore trends, you can find yourself in a world of trouble. And I'll give you an example. I like those tangible examples today. Think about the airline industry. Think about the travel agency industry. Before travel agencies, if you wanted to take a trip to Disneyland, you called the airline and booked your flight. Then you called your rental car company to get a rental car while you were down there. Then you called Disney World to figure out how to get your tickets. And then you figured out where you were going to stay and you called the hotel. Travel agencies came along because they would do all that for you. And people were all about travel agencies. But what happened was, with the internet speeds improving, that travel agencies didn't always, they kind of ignored that trend and didn't realize that they would be cut out, the middleman would be cut out, and that airlines and car rental places and all these different places would come together online and allow people to book all that online. So ignoring them has some significant consequences for you. A great example of a trend versus a fad is social media. Now, social media has been around for 20 years now. So people don't realize, first of all, hey, it's been around that long. So it has the longevity. But social media also proves itself because it fulfills a need. Do you know what that need is that social media fills? Connectivity. The desire for people to connect with other people is what social media fulfills. So that is a trend. So while trends satisfy needs, fads exist more in the surface level of enjoyment. They provide temporary novelty for people. And they're in one year, or they're actually in one season, and then they're out the next. Sometimes they're in 1 month and they're out. Sometimes it's a year. Either way, they're in and out. Now, they have this fast momentum. The thing that's exciting about trends is all the momentum that comes so quickly behind a trend. They also are exciting, and they can help or they can hurt your business. They have the ability. If you are on top of a fad, if you're in the right time, then a fad shows that you are relatable and you're relevant. If you come late to a fad, then you're outdated and you're not in touch with your audience. That's the difference between trends and fads. I said one of the things we're going to talk about was 3 ways that you can beat your competitor at identifying trends and fads. Or you can look at it this way, if you don't have direct competitors, it's 3 ways that you can find a way to take advantage of trends and fads and not embarrass yourself. So, 3 ways to do that is always keep the conversation going. You should always be talking with your clients, either through asking them directly or watching them on social media. Keep that conversation going. Make sure you know where your customers are. Make sure you know specifically your target market, what they're doing and what they're following and what trends and fads they're following. Number 2, pay attention. Now, I know that sounds really like in your face, but what I mean by that is if you're not listening to your clients and not solving their concerns, that's your job. That's your role, to solve their pain points. If you're not the person that automatically says, I get trends, I know the latest trends, I know the latest fads, then paying attention includes listening to your friends and your colleagues. There are people in your business who you know who they are. You can pick them out right now. They are the ones that are always on top of the latest trends and latest fads. Those are the people inside your business you want to talk to. Then you want to also look beyond your 4 walls. We're all guilty of looking within our own worlds, and we need to look beyond our 4 walls to see what the latest trends are. And if you've been in your position for 3 to 4 years, you have already seen 2 or 3 trends come and go. If you sit back and think about it, 2 or 3 fads come and go, you probably have seen 1 trend in that timeline that has happened. Or maybe you're at the peak of a trend. It just requires you to pay attention and think about what that is. And then the third one, and I think this one is really tangible here, you need to find experts, influencers, or even use AI. And here's what I mean. Every industry has experts. They are the people who get interviewed. They're the people stories are written about. They're the people, they may not even be in your community, but I'm sure even in the library world, there's not a lot of competitors to go look at, but there are libraries in different communities. And I bet you nationally, there are the same people that speak for libraries over and over again. And you need to know who those experts are in your field, whatever field that is, because you need to be listening to them. And when they identify trends and fads, you need to bring that in-house and decide what you want to do with that. There are also influencers. Obviously, 402 content marketing would be one of those people who can help you identify if it's a trend or a fad and also help you capitalize on that trend or fad. But there are also people that are influencers in the community that always know what the trends and fads are that you can talk to. AI. We're going to talk more about AI, but I will tell you, when you search Google, I don't know if you notice this now, but you will get, if their AI software kicks in, it will tell you these are answers from AI. If it is just the search algorithm, it will tell you nothing different. It'll look like Google always does. And it looks both ways. It looks very similar, but every now and then AI kicks in. So here's the thing about AI. It has the ability to crunch a lot of data very quickly. And it has the ability to follow a sequence of questions. And so you could actually say, hey, what is this trend or what is this fad I'm hearing about? And if there's information out there, it will tell you. You can go and say, hey, what are the last 3 trends in my industry? Tell them what industry you're in, obviously. But what are the last 3 trends that has happened in XYZ business? And it'll be able to look and say, well, these are the trends that have happened in that industry or that business. So that's 3 ways to beat your competitors or not embarrass yourself with trends and fads. Now, just to make sure you're paying attention and you're all ready to go, it's quiz time. So what was my friend here doing on the slides that I just showed you? The ice bucket challenge. You remember the ice bucket? Okay, so here we go. I started out by asking ChatGPT, what was the ice bucket challenge? And what do you think? Well, what do you think it said? Exactly. It said participants would dump ice water on their head or on camera. They would make a donation to ALS research, and then they would challenge others to do the same. Well, the next question I asked was, when was it popular? When was the ice bucket challenge? What do you think? Early 2000s is one guess. 2010, 12, okay. 17. You want to give one since we're all guessing now? 2010, okay. All right, no idea. Okay. Here's what ChatGPT told me. It was the summer of 2014. Now, are we talking about a trend or a fad here? It's a fad because it started in the summer. That was the peak of it in 2014. It was quickly over after that. How much did it raise for ALS research? We all remember the fad. No idea? Well, how much? Yes, exactly $115 million over 6 weeks. That's a very, very large amount of money very quickly. I'll edit that. So then as I was doing this, I was like, you know what? Let me ask one last question. What is ALS? Does anybody know what ALS is? Anybody can say what ALS is? It's most commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease. Absolutely. Here's what ChatGPT told me. Now, it did go on to explain to me that it is a progressive neurodegenerative disease that affects the motor neurons in the brain and the spinal cord. That is a fad. We remember certain things. It was very exciting when it was happening, but trends have long-term growth potential. Fads, you have to be on it and be off it as quickly as it comes on. Okay? This was a popular fad. If you went back to your offices and said, hey, we're going to try the ice bucket challenge, you'd be wasting time and money and energy. Now the question becomes, well, Vincent, why do you know what the top 25 trends are? Our industry has many, many experts. Many. Marketing probably has more experts, and I'm going to do air quotes here, than most. And my job is to determine which experts make sense and understand and actually are experts and which ones are pretend experts. In my role, my job is to see which experts are talking about things that local businesses can do and which ones are talking about national trends and fads. That is my role as a marketing expert here in Columbus. So here we go. Number 1, there will be 7. Authenticity matters. It matters to our customers. They are tired of over-polished, over-exaggerated information. We're going to show you an example of that. But they want creators who are genuine and who can tell relatable stories. They want creators who are going to evoke emotion with them. That's what people want. This authenticity matters was across almost everybody's presentation on what was going to happen in 2025. It matters. It's what people are asking for. They want something that's local. And I will tell you, this started in 2024. That's when the first time I started hearing about authenticity, and it's carried over into 25. It's a big deal. So if your marketing is super polished and not relatable to people locally, you've got a problem. Here's the other thing. People want personalization, and it's critical for being authentic. So there are data tools that can help you define who your market is, can help you define who's in Columbus, and you can look at who your target market is. We talked about that in last session, how to define your target market. But the other thing that they want is they want you to understand the customer journey. I'll give an example from Columbus Motor Company. Their customer journey is a little different than others because you have people who are thinking about cars. You have people then who are thinking about buying a car. You have people who want information about Columbus Motor Company. You have people who want to see the cars that Columbus Motor Company has. Then you have people who want to talk to a salesperson and maybe see what they have on the lot. Then you have people who want to talk about buying a car. Then you have people who want to buy a car. The next part of that journey is you have people who want to talk of financing about a car. Then you have people who want to buy it and take it home. And you have people who have to come back and get service for that car. That is all part of the customer journey. And what people are telling us is they want you to not only understand them data-wise, they want you to understand where they are in the process. And they want targeted messages based on data and on their customer journey. It's what makes you authentic to your target market. Now, privacy regulations are going to make this a little bit challenging for you. Here's what I mean by that. So, first-party data is data that you collect from your clients or potential clients on your system. So your websites, your Facebook page, whatever channels you may have, you collect that data from people. You say, hey, sign up for our email, and then they give you their address. That's first-party data. Third-party data is raising privacy concerns. And quite honestly, this is where people say, well, it feels like they're watching me. Or Big Brother, and I feel creeped out by, well, that's third-party data. And the way that works is you go to a site, and they have an ad, or they have, even the site itself might put a cookie on your computer. You don't realize it, but you download, when you go to that site, you get their cookie as well. And what happens is that cookie follows you as you go along, and it's able to track what you do. And they do this for 2 reasons. The first one that people get creeped out about is that they then can reserve and retarget ads to you. Now, the problem is, it feels creepy is when they overdo it. Or when my wife says, hey, do you want to go golfing in Omaha next week? And I say, great. And then all of a sudden she goes on Facebook and she's getting now ads for Omaha golf courses, and she hasn't searched anything. The cookie came from her verbal conversation. If you have Alexa or any of those things, that verbal conversation can deliver cookies to you. Regulation is coming out about third-party cookies. And they're making it very, very, very hard to use third-party cookies. And some places have started stopping that now because they understand this. Now, the other thing that third-party cookie data does that you don't see, this is one that you don't see. You see the retargeting and you feel it's creepy, but what you don't see is they know where you go, and they can build a profile of you. So for example, they know that I drive an old 2008 Honda Pilot. It's an old clunker. I love it. It still runs great. But they know that about me because why? Because I search for parts for a 2008 Honda Pilot. I get my oil changed for that Honda Pilot. I do all these different things that I do differently for our new car that my wife drives. So they know, and they can build this profile around you, and then they're able to say, okay, this person is someone who might also like this. And so since it's something you like when it's served to you, you don't realize it. But when they retarget, and marketers are notorious for overdoing things, they retarget and then you feel creepy about it, so then regulation comes into play. Number 6, we're going to get right into AI. It is not a magic wand, but it is changing marketing. So we are on the brink of a major shift. And I will tell you, you've seen these shifts happen over the years, and Blockbuster is a great example. As streaming services and as internet speeds picked up, Blockbuster had the chance to buy Netflix. And they didn't do it because they didn't see it as something that they should pay attention to. There were too many problems with it. They would deliver the disc. They weren't in a hard case. They would break sometimes. There was too much loss. People wanted to do business the way they always did and go to the video store and see if it was back yet so they could rent it. That's what Blockbuster believed. This is what's happening with AI. There's challenges with it for sure. But like any new tool, you have to be careful with it. You see what it's doing now. See what it did to the video rental business. Let's talk about the cautions, though. And so it's becoming, marketing content from AI is becoming more and more prevalent, and it's leading to 4 concerns. And here are the 4 biggest concerns I hear over and over again. Number 1 is noise. The sheer volume of stuff that's being created, it is making people crazy with the amount of information that's coming along. So an example is, you've seen this on Facebook where it was a fad that didn't take off, but do you remember a couple years ago people were doing weekends off? So they're like, hey, Facebook, I'm taking the weekend off. If you want to reach me, call me. But they wouldn't be on Facebook. Or I'm taking the month off. It was all these, it was almost like, it was like a fad that couldn't get going. But people were doing that because the overwhelming information. Number 1, noise. Number 2, lack of originality. There is this belief that you can just write something and it'll be original work, and you can use ChatGPT and it'll be original work. And what you're not understanding is it is scouring all the information that's available and then writing stuff. Now, colleges have already put into place a couple years ago now things that would check to see how much AI writing is in your thesis papers and that type of stuff. They've invested in that software because that's what was happening. People were using stuff that was not original work. So lack of authenticity. The other thing is personality. There is no personality in AI writing, especially in writing. Especially. So some people say, well, Vincent, we thought you guys were opposed to AI. No, we're not opposed to any tool. We're just opposed to the misusing of it, the misuse of it. And this is a tool, and it does not have personality. And then the 4th thing is AI makes local mistakes. So for example, when I say Columbus, you know I'm talking about Columbus, Nebraska. AI, 90% of the time, thinks I'm looking for Columbus, Ohio, or some of the other Columbuses that are out there that I didn't even realize were out there. It cannot spell Schuyler. It just can't. Locally, we know. So AI is beneficial for time saving. It's very beneficial. It can conduct research, and it can also consolidate a lot of information. Now, as Kelly just told us, you got to be careful. Sometimes it adds stuff or deducts stuff when you actually do this. It's also good at evaluating results. So if you are in the marketing sphere and you're running an ad. So for example, you've heard of A/B testing, where I want to do this ad and I want to do this ad. Whichever ad gets the most interaction, I want to put all my money into that one and drop out the other one. AI is really good at that. And that would be AI-powered ad targeting. And what it does is it analyzes the data and the results, and then it optimizes your buy in real time. And what I mean by that is when you're buying ads online, for example, on Google, there is a bidding process. And so you say, this is how much I want to pay for ads, and then it'll buy as many ads as it can. Well, with AI, they're able to say, this is the ad I need to buy more of. And then it's able to say, okay, here's a good time to buy it, and then buy it then. And then when the price gets too high, then it stops. It knows when to stop. So it is good at that. It is very good. I will tell you, just to say this again, we are on the verge of something. And it is a trend that is not going to go away. And so people, like I said, people see some of our posts on Facebook and they're like, I thought you were anti-AI. We're not. We're not. We just don't want people to be fooled by it. You can buy things, you can do things, you can be sold things, and it could all be AI, and you don't realize that. And so that's why if you see any cautionary AI post on our page, it's because something's happened or something's come up or something's coming into our community, and I want you to be aware of that. Or my partner wants you to be aware of that. All right, number 5. Omni-channel marketing creates a seamless experience. This one should be a no-brainer, but I'm telling you right now, we sometimes struggle with it. And we're a marketing agency. It's just funny to me. So it's where your business appears everywhere. And as we talked about in past sessions, you cannot appear everywhere. You don't have the money to appear everywhere. But what happens is, if you do this properly, while you can't afford to buy all the advertising space, you can put the ads in front of the people who are most interested in it. And that's how you become everywhere. You also do things like you do consistent messaging and a unified brand experience. And I had mentioned this last week, I believe, last session, that there are times I see ads, and especially back in the day before digital marketing was around, you would see a billboard ad, and you would see an ad in a publication, and they would literally use a logo that was the same wording, but designed differently. And I'm like, you can't do that. You have to have a unified logo. You have to have a unified messaging. So if humor is part of your marketing strategy and you use it, then there's one ad that's real serious, you take people and you make it hard for them to understand what's going on. And so this concept is based on Google's 7-1-1-4 rule, or 7-11-4 rule. And what that means is people should spend 7 hours of engagement with you through 11 touch points on 4 different platforms to buy. That's what it takes to buy. So the faster you can squeeze that, the quicker they're going to buy, or they're going to donate, or they're going to volunteer. The faster you can move that along. Now, this is Google's data. They put out this huge report on it. I take it very seriously. I take it very seriously because they have been marketing for years, and they have been watching what consumers do for years. So this omni-channel marketing, if you have to have 11 touch points over 4 media and 7 hours, the reason you need 11 touch points is because we're not efficient at sending the same message. That's why you need 11 touch points. Otherwise, it would be 7-7-4 rule. 7 hours, 7 touch points, 4 media. It'd be real quick. You could just say, this is what I need to do. The other thing is some of those touch points, those 11 touch points, are different. Some are short, some are long. And reality is, as you go down the sales funnel, the closer they get to buying, that's the longer tail information that they will consume. At the beginning, it's very short. So that's how Google came up with this 7-11-4 rule. I love it. And then for omni-channel marketing, I cannot say this enough. Do long form format first. Okay? And everybody says, well, yeah, of course. Well, let me give you an example. So we do these. I didn't bring an example with me, but we actually do a publication similar to this for local businesses. I won't mention any names because I'm going to Share something with them. So this is long form format. We will take this and say, okay, here's long form format. You can either hire us to chop it up and put it in different media for you. And they always say, no, I can do that. We are glad that you created the long format. And then they should chop it up. And now, not only chop it up for different medias, but different tactics require different chop ups. So some are going to be more visual and some are going to be more storytelling. So in Facebook, we want them to take a little bit more of the story and put it in there and put an image with it. But if they're going to put that on Instagram, we want them to put the image and just put maybe like a headline on the photo and put it up there. Okay? They struggle with it. This is a basic principle in marketing, and I see businesses struggle with it all the time. And a lot of times they say, well, I'll just do it myself. I can do it myself. I don't need to pay you to do that. And they struggle with it. It's a basic principle. When you break it down, you also have schedulers and automated tools. So please utilize those. When you get a long form data and you start breaking it down, please understand you don't have to break it all down in real time when you're ready to put it up. You can break it down and schedule it out in the future. So long form format first. It will also help you not only gain the content, but it will also help you with that unified brand experience, because it will be the same story told multiple times, same way. We're going on. We're going to number 4. Go deep first, then and only then widen the hole. Let me say that again. Go deep first, then and only then widen the hole. Okay? This one's pretty self-explanatory, but I will tell you it starts with the hardest thing that people forget. Know your target market. If you don't know your target market, you're like a dog digging holes in the yard. You don't know where to dig. You want to be like a miner. You want to know where the gold is and you want to dig there. Or you want to, like oilmen, you want to know where the oil is and drill there. But you have to know where you're going. So know your target market. Then focus on miracles and miseries. So that is when you are going deep. You are focusing on what you provide those people, what benefits you provide, and what problems or pain points do you solve. If you do marketing and it doesn't do that, you're just talking to be hearing yourself. You have to focus on the benefits that you provide them and what miseries or pain points do you solve. You want to position, your marketing should position yourself as a bridge between those two. Feature benefits over features. There's an old saying, sell the sizzle, not the steak. So if you look at a Hy-Vee flyer, when they have a meat sale, there's always a picture of a steak on top, and it's sizzling on the plate, and there's green beans and butters melting on the side, and the plate's got maybe mashed potatoes, or maybe it's got a stuffed baked potato next to it. Well, you don't buy that on the meat sale. You just buy on the meat. But nobody wants to see just a slab of steak there. They want to see the benefits of them. So, sell the sizzle. We talked about people buy on emotions more than they buy on logic. Sounds really strange. The higher the dollar, the more logic that comes into play. But it is emotions. And I believe in tangible world examples. I will give you a tangible world example. Years ago, my wife and I were buying our first house. We had looked at a couple houses. And of course, I was like, well, logically, we can afford this much. And I'd like to be in this type of neighborhood. And I'd like it to be this and this many bedrooms and this much. And I was very logical. And after we looked at a house, my wife said, no. My wife said, no. I said, no. I was like, what is going on here? We walked into a house. I'm not joking. We walked in the house through the back door. The garage was in the back. So we walked through the back door into the kitchen. And my wife said, this is it. She had taken like 2 steps into the house. She saw the outside. She maybe had seen pictures online. Oh, I'm going like this. Back then, she may have looked at pictures online. But the point was, emotions play a big part in the buying cycle. So make sure you're focusing on that. And here's the last one. It seems really super simple. but it's really hard for people now to be consistent. And if you are doing 4 or 5 different things or 6 or 7 different things, it's really hard to be consistent. So that's why everybody is recommending in 2025, you start digging on something that's part of your marketing strategy. You use this tactic, you dig deep, and then you start expanding out. Because too many people have gone the other direction where they go wide, and then you can tell it's falling apart when they lose their consistency. Hey, John Maxwell, I want to make sure I share this quote with you. He said that motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you growing. That's the law of consistency. I think that's a wonderful quote from John Maxwell. Very, very good. All right, number 3. Video marketing is a powerful tool for business growth. I've said this already in a couple different sessions. Video, video, video. Create video content. Even video content needs to produce value. It needs to focus on your audience's needs and their solutions. Somewhere along the line, people are making video content because they think it's fun and entertaining, but they are forgetting the part about making it valuable and focusing on the customer's pain points, solving those pain points. Same thing here. Short form video is the trend right now. It is going that way. If you remember, I made a comment. I said, hey, when the television industry started, they put movies on TV. And then they said, well, what if we did like an hour show on TV and then every week you came back? So they started making hourly shows. And they're like, what if we did half-hour shows? And then what if advertisers wanted to be on it? So we started doing infomercials on TV. And then they started doing shopping channels where they had little clips of infomercials. And then they came down finally to do commercials for businesses. So same thing's happening in this world. You can see it's highly effective, especially on Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Reels, YouTube Shorts. Very, very, very positive on there. Now, you see that social media algorithms? Why I have that on there is because you're making videos, short form videos, for 2 reasons. The first one is short attention spans. Keeps getting shorter and shorter. Sorry, but it's true. It's happening. The second one is social media algorithms reward marketers or businesses who market their business and get continual engagement. They reward that. And the way they reward that is keep serving that up to different people. They keep sharing it over and over without you doing anything because it's engaging. And so if you're authentic and you're making a short video, it should be engaging. All right. Number 2 is a bit of a tactic. I've mentioned it before, email marketing. I know email marketing seems old-fashioned, especially in this digital landscape we're in, but it is still a top marketing channel due to the fact that it is a controlled media channel. And what I mean by that is, you remember I talked about the touch points? Well, this is one of those touch points that you can truly control. One of those 4, Google's 7-11-4 program, the 4 is the 4 touch points, or the 4 channels. This is a channel you have so much control over. There's ways to control the design of it, and there's ways to control the delivery of it, and there's ways to control the results and see who bounces in and out. There's ways to find out what stage of the buying cycle they're in. So many. Now, weekly emails seem to be the sweet spot. So again, if people are spamming other people, they're going to lose them and people are going to bounce out. And email marketing is that first party data. I just can't say enough about it. It shows up. It's not just me saying this. It shows up with the experts in the industry. They all say the same thing. It may seem old school, but it still works. All right. The other thing about this is there are some trends that are impacting email right now. And these trends include mobile optimization. 70% of email is read on a phone. Now, I know I'm a little older than some of you, but I hate reading my email on my phone. Do I do it in a pinch? Yes. But the emails that I receive from marketers, I usually read those on my computer. But 70% is being read on a phone. Remember, inbound versus outbound marketing. Email is something that you sign up for and you ask to receive. That is an inbound marketing. An outbound marketing is that commercial that comes up when you're watching your favorite show. That's outbound marketing. It's disruptive. Or it's the Facebook, you're looking at your friend's post and you see an ad in the middle and you're like, I don't want to go to that. That's disruptive marketing. That's outbound marketing. That's not email. It's inbound. It is a continual communication. So people think, well, I don't use email marketing because I don't have offers to send out to my clients, or I don't have offers to send out to this person or that person. I will tell you, the continual communication can also be done different ways. You can ask questions. You can send surveys. You can send updates through an email. There's so many different ways you can control and use it and have that continual communication with your target market. And then here's the last one, curated content. And this is why I wanted our friend Tanya to hear this. Tanya, I hope you're watching this video. This is for you. And for everybody else too. Curated content, the part for Tanya will be LinkedIn. But for everyone else, I will tell you what curated content is. And what curated content is you become the professional in your market on a specific topic. Now, most topics have this much information on the internet, but people can only read about this much. So what a professional does, since they have to read that information anyway, they slice and dice and they save the good parts and they slice and dice, and then they say, hey, here's the information from your local professional. And they put it in bite-sized pieces versus all the... Now, two things about that. Number one, you have to source where the information comes from. Number two, I like tangible examples. This presentation today is what? It's curated. Remember I told you how I did this? I watch multiple videos, I get multiple newsletters, and they all send me their predictions, predictions for 2025 and their summaries of 2024. And I take all that information and curate it and present it as the local professional. And I also have some real life experience doing this, so that helps a little bit. And number one, if you're shocked by this, you obviously don't know me. Content is still king at a few things. Providing solutions. All businesses start with a strategic marketing plan. If you don't have one, stop, go back, develop a strategic marketing plan. In that process, you will identify your target market. If you say, well, I think my target market, you don't know who it is. Stop. Know who your target market is. Because to provide solutions, you have to know who they are. And to afford the group that you want to target, you have to be able to know who they are. Otherwise, you think you're providing solutions for everyone. Content repurposing. Now, I referenced this when I was talking about videos, and I referenced this when I said we do publications or we write stories for businesses. That is a great way to repurpose. Your content should be repurposed. And the keys are, it's a way to get long-form content. It's a way to repurpose it for different channels and different segmentations, and it saves you time and ensures your brand is the same over and over again. And number three for content is user-generated content. So user-generated content is exactly what the name implies. It's your users generate the content. Couple caveats here. You should encourage your best customers to provide that content. I will tell you, user-generated content is seen as authentic and reliable. When I was selling advertising back in the day, I remember people would always say, well, my best business comes from recommendations. Why? Because I know that person recommending it. And if you know someone, then that business becomes authentic. When your friends say, I can come here and say, Kelly's business is the best business in the world, and I can say that all day long. But until someone knows me, they don't understand that recommendation. Now, if people know me and I say that recommendation, Kelly knows that's a solid recommendation. And here's the caveat. You have to monitor and help with user-generated content. You can't just turn on and say, hey, when my users generate content, I want that to go directly to my webpage or directly to my Facebook page or directly. You cannot do that. Why? Not all of it is good. And there's actually software that all user-generated content can come into, and you can approve or send a message back saying, hey, thank you for your opinion. I'm forwarding that on to customer service so they can help you with your issue. It's not supposed to come through user-generated content. That's not the content you want out there. Now, I also say you have to help with it too. And what I mean by that is when the first session, I think you were all here for the first session, I showed you 2 videos from a company. What was the company? What was the company called though? Okay, so it was called True Classic Tees, and they changed the name to True Classic, but it was True Classic Tees. Remember that? I showed you 2 videos. One was a video that they created that used humor, and one was a video of their clients submitting their try-ons of their new shirts. And what they did was they took all those clips and they put them together. They put a music track through it all that was similar to the track they used in their created videos. They dropped their logos on those people's videos so that it stayed the same. But reality was it looked a little bit different, and it had a lot of sway with their buyers because it was user generated. So, with that said, boom, that's it. We're done. It's 3:05. Sorry I went 5 minutes late.